will be a runoff for presidential.
The candidates, Rob Chappell and Mike Hurtado, contenders for the office of Associated Students of Cal Poly University. In the next half hour, we will recap 2 weeks of active campaigning. We begin this program on May 12th, when the candidates met the press at KCPR Radio to discuss some of the important issues. People came up to me and knowing that I'd be on the panel and asked me to relay this question, and I would ask both candidates what you propose doing to rectify the parking situation on campus and the problems that of late have gone into, you know, actual police brutality or even student brutality on police, and what's going to be done about it if either one of you are elected. I'll start with Rob.
I have a few ideas on the parking problems on this campus. One would be, one thing I think we should push for is that when students stay here 3 quarters, they should get a discount on they shouldn't have to buy a parking sticker every quarter. Maybe if they bought one that would include the full year, we could get it at a discounted rate, say $20 instead of $30, at $10 a shot every quarter. This is one thing that I'd like to work on. Another thing I'd really certainly like to look into for the dorm students is why should they have to pay to park at their home? This really bothers me, the fact that students, you know, they have to pay where they live. This doesn't make sense to me. Subsidizing the bus token program more so students could ride from off campus. This would help solve some of the parking problems. Also, maybe as a long-term goal, 5 years, say a shuttle system from the perimeter of campus, bringing students onto campus, having really essentially no traffic inside of campus, having a shuttle system from a parking lots located outside, and a total shuttle system within the campus. These are just a few of my ideas on the parking problem that I hope we could try and solve next year.
Right.
Okay, in regards to the parking, you know, I've been very much in contact with the dorm people, especially Inner Hall Council, and in regards to making some improvements within the dorm lives. I've stated much similar to what Rob has stated, only that I've actually went out and tried to do it in regards to giving a discount to the dorm people. Now, it was my understanding through Roland Hill, who's my running mate, that some of these individuals sign a contract. It's a year contract. And many of these individuals, it was not thought of at the time when the contract was signed, that many of these individuals actually own cars and would have to park on campus. Now, I have been in contact with the Inner Hall Council to propose a resolution to SAC to encourage them to support a discount, which would give, instead of the dorm people, since the contract's for 1 year, instead of them buying a sticker every quarter, give them a discount for the whole year, and if they have to leave, they leave with the sticker and what have you. So that way it would get some kind of a discount. The other thing is which I've pushed for and was able to get a hold of it, wind of it, last quarter, was this bus tokens. I am very much in favor of totally subsidizing the bus tokens, making Cal Poly students ride the bus for free.
On May 13th, the same type of situation, but this time a question-answer session before a live audience in the University Union. Both candidates were questioned by members of the student body regarding some of the hot issues. In this segment, Mike Hurtado was asked to respond to allegations of his ineffective leadership at Student Affairs Council during his term as ASI Vice President.
But how can you know, look at it with SACREPS criticizing you? Now, I can see possibly, well, you know, they didn't support you, but they didn't, you know, they supported the other candidate. But how can you explain that they've come out so strongly against you?
First of all, the HEP committee, in regards to the letter writing, I think you brought the letter to me for verification and see what I thought about it. That's to the extent that I had to do with the letter. In regards to the committee, I helped set up the committee, and you asked to be chairman, and I thought you were a great person for that committee. You showed the interest. In regards to the HEP problem, I continuously put it on the agenda so that we could get some student support for this program, which I thought was a very vital program. In regards to the actual HEP and the SACREPS getting involved with the whole situation of HEP and its problems, I personally walked the SAC reps to the HEP office so that they can see what the HEP building and program was all about. May I remind you that when I walked out of this building, I had 24 SAC reps behind me. When I got there, there was 4. Now, I don't know where they got lost, or if they stopped off to get a Coke or a hamburger or a hot dog, I don't know. But I attempted to do that. In regards to the SAC criticism, I welcome your criticism, and I have no gripes about that. You have your right to express yourself, and I'll fight every damn way to let you have your right to express yourself. But I think that things should be put in the right perspective, and I'm not going to get into any of that. I think the students can look at the issues, look at the past voting records, look at the issues that have been brought up and who's carried them through, and then make their decisions. But as far as SAC reps expressing themselves, I have no gripes about that.
Next, it was Chappell's turn in the hot seat. He was asked to respond to the allegation that he had divided the Student Affairs Council by printing this advertisement in the May 12th edition of the Mustang Daily. It reads, "An urgent letter from the student leaders. We, the undersigned SAC members, in an effort to bring effective leadership to the ASI, hereby endorse Rob Chappell for ASI president." It was signed by 16 of the 23 SAC members.
In my opinion, Fred, the body was divided long before, 2 weeks ago, long before they signed that letter. It was not paid for with my campaign money. They were donations from some of the people, not all the people that signed it. There are now 14 or 15 members that have signed a similar letter. And I would suggest that maybe you direct your question to them, because they're the ones that signed that, not by force. They were asked to sign it. They knew it was going to be printed, and they know when and where it was going to be printed and how it was going to be distributed and everything like this. My suggestion is that the body has been divided all year from the cause of ineffective leadership, and this is the SAC members expressing their opinion, which they have the right to do.
That similar letter which Chappell referred to was printed and then distributed on campus. It was also the original advertisement that was submitted to the Mustang Daily but refused for publication by editor Margie Newsma. She went before Publishers Board to read the original and to defend her decision.
Doesn't top attention. This is the original ad to be placed in the Mustang Daily on Tuesday, May 13th, 1975. However, Mustang Daily editor Margie Newsma would not print this letter signed by 16 and 24 members of the Student Affairs Council. Instead, a substitute ad was demanded. Due to this repression of the freedom of the below individuals to express their views on the upcoming election, it was decided to have this ad printed and distributed in order that students know how these SAC members felt and of the attempt by the Mustang Daily to control the freedom of expression on this campus. Needless to say, I disagree with what they say, and I want to tell this board why. Attached on the back are 2 checks, which we received at the time that we received this ad. They attracted my attention because at the bottom of the ad it said paid for by concerned students. My first question was, I immediately associated concerned students with the students who had signed the ad. The check which paid for the ad came from Judith Ann Burke, the bottom check, who is, as Rob Chappell admits, his girlfriend. There was no connection with Rob Chappell in the ad. It was a personal attack on Mike Hurtado, something which I don't think the paper should condone. My fear was that this would precipitate further personal attacks on people like President Kennedy, perhaps Scott Plotkin. Anyone could take out an ad like this and attack any person on this campus. If the ad had been related to the election, if it had said vote for Rob Chappell somewhere in it, or if it had identified Mike Hurtado as a candidate, I might have accepted it, because then it would have been related to the election. But as it is not. It's just a personal attack. I was afraid it might be libelous. I knew it was inflammatory, and I was afraid it might be libelous. I did not want to take the risk of publishing it. I talked to Margaret Keys. I have a letter here from her. She's the ad manager. She supports me in pulling the ad because she said, 1, it was not paid for by concerned students. 2, it was unethical. And 3, there was a question as to whether all the people stated had said that they were opposed to Hurtado, as it says on the ad. We found out today that not all of them were.
The next day, we asked current ASI President Scott Plotkin his feelings on this issue.
This is not the way to get the students out to vote. The way to get the students out to vote is to be able to make a clear-cut distinction between the candidates and the issues that they offer as far as the student influence on this campus and this state. Not because of personalities, not because of race, not because of background or anything of that sort. And I think we got too much of that going on right now, because Mike Hurtado, if he is elected, will be the first minority president out of 69 presidents that this student body has ever had. And I think that has a tremendous amount of impact on a lot of the students on this campus. And I really feel that that has a lot to do with what's behind all the problems that they're having. I do know that Chapel has a lot of signs being torn down as well. I've seen the evidence of both of them. I've seen crumpled signs from both sides that were discovered. And so the only thing I can say is that I don't know which came first, the chicken or the egg, but it's generating into something that could get very nasty and much worse than it is now. And I only hope that the students will come to their senses and realize that there's much more at stake here than who's going to be student body president next year. There's a lot at stake as far as the entire attitude of the influential people in this state towards students and student government.
Wednesday, the day before the election. The voting has started. Campaigning was heavy by both Chapel and Hurtado's camps. Literature was distributed, and the candidates became more visible. More and bigger signs appeared on the campus. And over 4,600 students had cast their votes. By the next evening, May 15th, the decision was made. All there was to do was to wait for the results.